All right, welcome back to Hannity. There is war words brewing between Donald Trump and Senator Marco Rubio. Now, here are some of Trump's comments about the Florida senator.
Senator Rubio is a lightweight. We understand that. He wouldn't be able to do this. He wouldn't know a trade deal from any other deal.
Marco Rubio is a lightweight. I can't imagine that he goes anywhere. Who, by the way, has the worst voting record in the United States Senate.
You have this clown, Marco Rubio. I've been so nice to him. I've been so nice. I've been so nice.
Marco Rubio, he's like a kid. He shouldn't even be running in this race as far as I'm concerned. He's a kid. Marco Rubio, who has the worst voting record in the United States Senate, and a young guy, although he sweats more than any young person I've ever seen in my life.
Now, last night on the program, Senator Marco Rubio joined us, and he said this.
He's a very insecure person. He doesn't like to be criticized. You know, the presidency's a tough job. You're going to be criticized, and you can't flip out every time somebody says something about you. He does. And that's his problem. I don't have time to kind of analyze why that is, but that's the reality of it. He had a bad week. You know, he got booed on a stage. He had very few people show up to an event he gave. Just today, Tom Brady said he's not endorsing Donald Trump, despite these reports that he didn't even have Tom Brady on his side now. So he's a very sensitive guy, and that's fine. That's his problem.
Here now with reaction, author, columnist David Limbaugh, pollster Frank Luntz, and from the Tea Party News Network, Scotty Hughes is with us. Let me, for full disclosure, I like both these guys. I certainly don't believe that Marco is a lightweight. I'm not sure the origination of all of this. David, do you think this benefits either of them?
Well, no, I don't. I don't think it elevates Rubio to get in this kind of a contest, and I don't think it helps Donald Trump. I think what helps Donald Trump is to be himself in terms of attacking the establishment and attacking political correctness, but not these personal attacks. He needs to curb himself on those, not because they're untoward or because I think they're silly. I think the electorate will think it's silly and detracting from the main message, which is Obama and the establishment are destroying America. I will help resurrect America, but attacking people, his opponents or otherwise, is a waste of time, and I think hurts him in the polls, actually.
All right, Frank Luntz, you've examined this. I think Trump is at his best when he's leading the fight on immigration, or when, Trump laid out a very detailed tax plan where he's telling couples in America, you make 50 grand, you send in a note to the IRS that says, I win, I owe nothing. Or immigration, any of these issues. I think he's better on the issues. Thoughts?
Mm-hmm. And he's also great on political correctness. When he took on, and he talks about how we have to get away from it, that our problems are too serious to be holding back. That's what Trump does best. Marco Rubio does best on substance. Marco Rubio knows the details of foreign policy and national security. He knows the details of domestic, of economic policy. And so when Rubio is speaking about economics, he is going to be incredibly strong, and Trump, frankly, can't hold a candle to him. But when Trump goes after the establishment, that's where I would say to Rubio, don't take him on. And so both of these candidates going to war against each other. It's not smart for either of them at this point.
Scotty?
Well, the thing is, you have to remember, and this is something that we talk about the language, Trump is coming from a business background. Rubio is in politics. There is no more of a sensitive, Spanx-wearing, PC-correct crowd industry than politics. The exact opposite is business. Business doesn't care about it. It's a dog-eat-dog. Sean, you know this. And so, therefore, when he talks, all that matters is he making people money, which he has. Here's what's really sad about this, though. These two going after each other, if they would actually combine, talk about a dream team of what today's GOP needs. They hit every spectrum. You've got a guy strong in business, and you got a guy who's worked from the grassroots all the way up to the federal level. Put the two of them together, and we have a dynamic team.
Marco had maybe the best line in the last debate when he pinpointed Putin's a gangster, and this is what he's going to do in the next few weeks, and it's all unfolding, and it's all becoming reality. All right, so we had Kevin McCarthy would like to be the next Speaker of the House. I had him on the program last night. I pushed him pretty hard on the issue of whether he would use the constitutional authority that Congress has, the power of the purse, to get things done. Watch this. Here's what every conservative wants to know.
Yes.
Are you willing to defund Obamacare and use your constitutional authority? Are you willing to use the power of the purse to defund Planned Parenthood? Will you use the power of the purse to stop the power grab of this president through the use of executive amnesty, ignoring our laws and our Constitution? If you're Speaker, Will you go into your conference and say, this is what we should do, we need to unite together?
I will unite them, and yes, we'll do it. But you know what?
You will do those.
We're not going to do it when we have one day. This is what we're going to do, Sean, and we're not going to be able to do it alone. We're going to put a strategy together, just as we do a select committee on Planned Parenthood.
David, 60% of Republicans feel betrayed by congressional Republicans. What do you think of the answer?
Well, in the first place, it seems to be moot because I think Boehner's already trying to work a deal on Planned Parenthood before he goes out. And I'm a little skeptical about McCarthy doing the kinds of things he says he will do. However, since Boehner did get cashiered, he might be listening, and it is the entire Republican base is disgusted with what's going on. I think people like McCarthy are listening to that, and they are going to make some show. I wrote a column about making the point that the Congress should shut the government down and finally use their bully pulpit to go after Obama and point out that it's he who is insisting on the government shutdown over Planned Parenthood, which is a vicious abortion factory and killing machine.
Frank.
Surely we can win that battle, and surely we shouldn't be afraid of losing the presidency in 2016 over an issue that will resonate with the American people.
Frank?
And the base.
I feel betrayed. You do focus groups. You're hearing this every day. What did you think?
Yes. Well, first off, I saw the whole interview. I saw both sections of it, and boy, did you push him hard. You deserve a lot of credit for doing that. But you know what? Kevin pushed back, and he deserves credit as well. And he offered you something that no other leaders ever offered. He said, hold himself accountable. He'll do your show once a month. He'll come on.
That's true.
The difference between Kevin and the other, and I give him credit for that, because you're tough, and he was tough right back. The difference is that Kevin is likable, that Kevin is smart about these policies, and that Kevin is opening up the leadership so that conservatives have a chance and, most importantly, a voice. Well, and that is something that they does not have. So
I hear he's trying to get Trey Gowdy as the House Majority Leader, and Trey doesn't want the job.
No, he didn't.
Give
but you know
him
what, Sean, here's
credit for opening up for conservatives to have the chance to be heard, to get their votes on the floor. Right. Sean, please give him credit where credit is due.
All right, we'll give him credit for that. But I'm a trust but verify guy. He did try to bring Gowdy in, and in fairness, Scotty, no Republican House Freedom Caucus members running. There's two guys running.
No, that's right, and they don't want to run, which also speaks very highly, lowly of them, actually. You know, the one thing about the interview last night, Sean, that I did think, I think it's great that he's willing to be held accountable every month by one of the hardest pushers, questioners out there, but he put a loophole in his answer. He said, if it's the strategy to win. That's his loophole. He says, yes, I have no problem. I'll push for it if we're going to win. If it's the strategy. When they use words like that, that's why people doubt it. And the telltale sign last night that I think my red flag went up when you asked him, what grade do you give Boehner? And he came back with, what was it, a B? If you give anything less than, anything higher than a B minus, anything higher than a D, I would be very, very unimpressed.
And for the record, I gave a D minus. All right, guys, thank you both for being with us. Appreciate it. Thank you all for being with us. Coming up next tonight, right here on Hannity.
I think American blacks, over the course of this next year, will begin to see that they've been manipulated.
Dr. Benjamin Carson, he calls out the mainstream media and politicians, saying that they are manipulating the black community in this country. Is that true? We'll check in with Sheriff David Clark and Eric Guster. They go head-to-head. Plus, the head of Planned Parenthood has a tough time defending her controversial organization on Capitol Hill yesterday, and she says the questions were sexist. That's coming up.